Hi guys, today I thought I'd show you how I glue the cork backings on my coasters. Now, what I usually do is, rather than buy pre-cut self-adhesive type cork backings that you can get for coasters, I'm not a real fan of those because with any moisture or heat, the adhesive fails and the backing comes off and it ends up looking like junk in no time. So I actually use a contact adhesive to glue the backings on. Okay, so I buy my cork roll like this. It's about 1 metre long by 20 centimetres wide, and it's about 2 millimetres thick, so it's not bad stuff. The contact adhesive comes in half a dozen different types that you can actually get. So this one here is actually a liquid, so when you look inside, it's actually a liquid compared to something like this one here, which is a gel, and that's actually a thick gooey gel that's in there. Still works perfectly fine. It's actually less messy to use this one, but most people around the world might not be able to get their hands on it. So today we'll do it with this one. Now, first things first, safety. It is flammable. It can harm your lungs, so wear a respirator and don't have any naked flames near it. Another thing is, don't do this inside like I am, because it's really stinky stuff and it stinks the whole place out. So if you've got asthma or something like that, the fumes are going to, make a pretty bad time for you. So wear a respirator. Even if you're doing it outside, which is the best place to do it, still wear a respirator because, the fumes are pretty bad off it. Now, I'm doing it inside at the moment because it has been torrential rain here in Australia where I live for days and days and days. But my little studio that I work in was originally set up as a welding bay. So I have high-tech fume extractors, fans, all that sort of thing. So I'm not breathing all these fumes in. All the extraction units suck all the fumes outside. Goes through a charcoal canister and nobody else outside's breathing the fumes because the charcoal canister catches everything. Okay, so safety first. Right, now that that's out of the way, what you need is cheap disposable paintbrush because you are absolutely going to kill it. When the stuff dries, it's bad. So your brushes are totally throwaways. So just get the cheapest ones you can possibly get and chuck it when you're finished. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to coat this cork roll with the contact adhesive. So just dip it in and just brush it all over the cork roll. Now what I've done is actually lined up a whole heap of coasters so that I know how many I can actually fit onto my cork. So what we're going to do is brush this on all the way down. And yes, it is very, very messy, so wear gloves. You don't want this stuff on your fingers. It's a nightmare to get off. Now, even with my extractors running, it stinks. So just keep that in mind. Best to do it outside, it really is. And then with a respirator on, you shouldn't be able to smell it anyway, so. But it's, yeah, really smelly. So I'll go down and I'll coat this whole sheet, and then I'll be back with you in a second. Okay, I've given that a good coat over the whole length of the cork roll. Now, what you're going to do is wait until that dries, so it's touch dry. You can actually put your hand on it and it won't be wet. Okay? Then what we'll do is grab a tile, like so. And we're going to glue the back of the tile as well. So grab the glue, dip some on the brush, and just brush the back of it. Make sure you get right up to the edges. Like that. Okay, and then we're going to put that face down over there for it to dry. Now, the way contact adhesive works is you coat both surfaces and wait until they're dry. Once they are dry, when you put both surfaces together, they stick. You can't get them apart. So what we'll do is wait for both parts to dry before we stick them together. So just keep on going with all your coasters. Now I know on a metre length of cork like I have here, I can get about 16 of the hex shaped coasters out of one roll. Or if I go to the 4-inch squares, I can get about 18, like comfortably on your sheet. So hex ones take up a lot more cork roll because they're actually wider than 4 inches. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll go through, coat all these other coasters, and once they're both dry, we'll do the next part. Okay, we're about 20 minutes into the future. It's taken forever for the glue to dry here because of the rain, and it's driving me nuts. But I sped up the process a little bit with a hairdryer. So when you actually touch the coasters now that are glued, there's no sticky feel to it. It's not tacky in any way, shape or form. It just feels like dried glue. Now, this coaster here, we haven't applied glue to. And as you can see, when you put it down on your cork, and then try to peel it off, it just lifts straight off. It's because you need 2 glued surfaces to actually work. So if you've only got one side of your coaster glued, it will not stick to that cork. Never in a million years. Okay, so make sure you glue both sides. Oh, another thing I was thinking of while I was huffing glue, is this stuff here, which is the gel, comes in handy for clumsy people like me. So when the lid's off and you actually bump the can over, it's not going to go anywhere. So that can't fall out and make a big mess everywhere. Another little cool tip if you want to go to the gel version rather than the liquid version, because the liquid version does get a little bit messy. Also, this one here is heat and water resistant, which comes in really handy as well for, say you're sitting outside and you've got your outside table with your coasters on and you're all sitting there having coffee or whatever, sitting in the sun, the pre-adhesive cork pieces you usually get from Amazon or eBay and places like that will lift off in the heat. So if you're in a hot climate like we are in Australia, or you know, places like California or Texas or all the cool joints, that can happen. So that's why I go to this type of adhesive. You know it's just going to work, it's not going to fall apart, and it's going to save you a lot of headaches. Alright, let's glue this. So, that's dry now, totally dry. All the tiles are totally dry. What we're going to do is grab a tile, start at one edge. It might be hard to see until I get further down the track, but you just place them on. Make sure you pick up the ones that are glued. Okay. You get one shot at this, guys. So make sure when you line them up on your sheet, they are exactly where you want them to go. Otherwise, once they're stuck, they are stuck, not coming off. So we'll just keep going down the little line here. Just line them up. I usually put one tip down first, just so I know where I roughly am. Lay it down, give it a press. Okay. Leave a gap. Lay it down. And just keep going down the line until you have the whole sheet covered in your tiles. Okay, so we'll just go down the line. I'll get this done as quickly as I can so you're not just sitting around looking at this. Okay. But yeah, try and be as accurate as possible. Make sure you've got some overhang at either edge. And just lay them down, give them a little bit of a press. Like that. Okay, so just make sure they're nice and firmly pressed down to start with. Then what we're going to do is grab a razor blade, which is like so, box cutter blade, whatever you'd like to call them. Then all we're going to do is trim them out. So what we're going to do is just slide in between each tile with the blade. Try not to hit your coasters because you will destroy them. Cut straight through your epoxy coating, which is not good. Okay, so just cut those through. Now I've got a piece of MDF underneath this, which I'm using as a sacrificial table. So that blade is actually through the cork into the MDF. Okay, we'll slide all the way through here. Now this glue usually takes about 24 hours to fully cure. Some take a little bit longer, some are a little bit quicker. All depends on what sort of temperature you've got. Now, just to show you how strong the actual adhesive is, that looks like it's just fully dried. Put them both glued side face to face. Squash them together. Now, it's a nightmare to pull them apart. You tend to tear up the cork instead. Okay, so once they're set, they're set. I actually prefer the gel stuff. It just seems to work a lot nicer. It's a lot less messy. Definitely more user friendly. Okay, so you now got those cut out. What you do is make sure the backing is pressed in. Make sure it's firm right up against the edges. Like that. Then what I'll do is grab a pair of scissors. Now, what I do is, sharp scissors are the go. I hold it on at like a 45-degree angle. Put the scissors there. Just cut straight along. Okay, so 45-degree angle. Where's the camera? There it is. Like that. And then I'll just go through all the coasters exactly the same way, all at a 45-degree angle. That way it ensures that your cork is trimmed right up to the edge of your tile. Like that. So now you have your cork backing on. All ready to rock and roll. So leave those for about 24 hours. Make sure they're fully set and hardened. And you should have no problem whatsoever with them. Alright guys, I hope that was some sort of help to you. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Ring the notification bell and you'll get to see all my videos as soon as I release them. And there we go. Alright guys, take care, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.